Good morning, everyone. It's Miss Laura from the Upper Merion Township Library, and I'm coming to you with some great books to read for the weekend and moving in towards the end of the school year. Just a few little notices before I begin. All of the titles I'm talking about today are available on Hoopla and on Overdrive, so if there's anything that you're interested in, you have access to all of these titles. If you have a child, or if you are a child entering kindergarten through 8th grade, you can start signing up for summer reading right now at the website www.umtlreads.org. That's umtlreads.org. So you can pre-register now. Summer reading officially starts June 15th, and on that day we'll also have links on our website for teens and adults. So we have summer reading for all ages, so definitely take a look at that, and we have some great prizes for that as well. As far as reopening goes, we are working on a phased reopening plan, and as of right now, we are waiting for more information from the governor in order to move forward with that. So keep an eye out on our social media and on our website, and you'll get more information about those things. All right, we're going to get started with our books today. My first one is a chapter book. It's called Bigfoot and Littlefoot by Ellen Potter, illustrated by Felicita Sala, and it's published by Amulet Books, an imprint of Abrams. And I love this book because it's a pretty quick read, but it's a series, so if you like this one, you can read the next ones. This one's 136 pages, lots of white space, lots of illustrations throughout, so it really does keep people and kids engaged with it. It would also make a great read aloud. It's a lot of fun. This story is about Hugo. He is a young Sasquatch, or a Bigfoot as we know them, and he longs for adventure outside of the cave that he lives in. And it's also a story about Boone, who is a human boy who wants nothing more than to see a Sasquatch. And the two meet in the forest unexpectedly, and when they do, they become an unlikely pair of best friends, and they go on adventures together, searching for Ogopogo and a snoot-nosed Gints. Gints, is it? Yes, Gints. And all sorts of other fantastical creatures. And throughout the story, they kind of realize that they're not as different as people had once told them, or Sasquatches once told them. So they become really great friends. Like I said, it's the first in the series, so it's perfect for those readers that have moved beyond the easy reader books and are looking for a little bit something longer. And it's also, like I said, available on Hoopla or Overdrive, so you can take a look at that one. This is the first in the series. It's a lot of fun. Ellen Potter has also done some other books. She has an entire series that's all on fairies as well, so you could take a look at her books on that one as well. So that is Bigfoot and Littlefoot. Our next book is one that is one of my absolute favorite stories that I've read in the past couple years. Our book copy of it was checked out of the library. We have the audiobook here, but you can also get the audio on Overdrive. This book is called A Snicker of Magic by Natalie Lloyd, and it's published by Scholastic. And I absolutely love the writing. Natalie Lloyd does an amazing job just using words in this book. And one of the quotes that I love in this is the quote that says, "I wondered if there was something sacred, something everlasting about melted ice cream and summer days and good stories." And this is the story of summertime. Felicity Juniper Pickle collects words. She sees them in the air floating around people's heads, and when she does, she adds them to her notebook. And there's all sorts of really great real words and made-up words in this story. And when Felicity and her mother and sister arrive in her mom's hometown, after wandering around for many, many years, Felicity finally feels like she might have found home in Midnight Gulch. And although Midnight Gulch has lost its magic many, many years ago, Felicity can still feel a little bit of that magic left, and she's on a mission to bring it back. This is a story about magic, and it's a story about the family that you're born into and the family that you choose along the way, and really what home can mean. Like I said, it's got beautiful vocabulary in the story, and it was a book that made me stop and really pause at sentences just because they were so well written. And it's also a lot of fun. So this is A Snicker of Magic by Natalie Lloyd, and she's also written some other things too. So if you like this, this is a standalone book, but she has other titles that she's written. So take a look at that one. All right, my next one is a book that was just published last year. It's called Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, published by Blazar Bray. It's an imprint of HarperCollins, and I'm going to try and I have to tilt the book so that you guys can see them without being shiny on my screen because of all the fancy covers on our books. This is a novel in verse, and for those who don't know what a novel in verse is, a novel in verse is written in poetry form. So you'll often find it is a book that has much, much less words on the page. So I love novels in verse for kids that are a little bit more reluctant readers, because they're not full paragraphs and it's not a ton of writing. What I also love about novels in verse is that authors, when writing them, really have to choose very specifically the words and spacing. Because they only have so many words to use, they really have to be very conscientious about the types of words they use and what they mean and the rhythm of the story within that format. The best quote in this book is the quote that says, "I am learning how to be sad and happy at the same time." This is the story about a young girl, Jude, whose family's safety is at risk in Syria. And so she and her mother must leave Syria, and they leave her father and her brother behind to travel to America and live with relatives. When Jude gets to America, America is too fast and it's too loud, and she misses her family. And being a new kid and being Middle Eastern makes her life at school very difficult. But soon she starts, finding her place. And although she still is sad about her father and her brother being, very unsafe in Syria where she left, she also starts to feel like maybe America can also be home too. It is an extremely powerful story about refugees and about the immigration process and about being different. And it's also a story about home, which seems to be a little bit of a theme today for my books. But this is a beautiful story and has beautiful writing. It's called Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. And this may have been a debut this year. I'm not sure, or last year. But it was so well written. It was a great book. So. My next book today is an absolutely fun story called The Doughnut Fix by Jessie Janowitz. It's published by Sourcebooks Jabberwocky, and it's the first in a series all about donuts, which, what more can you ask for, right? This is a story of Tristan, and when his parents decide to move them from the bustling, loud New York City to a quaint and very small town with one road and no excitability, Tristan is understandably upset. Tristan loves to cook and bake, and moving to this small town with no restaurants, no international cuisine, it's really, really frustrating for him. But then he learns about these best ever chocolate cream donuts that are made right in this small town that he lives in, and he knows that he's got to try one. Little does he know that the owner of the general store who made these donuts hasn't made them in years. But with nothing else to do in this small town, Tristan decides that he will get the donut recipe and create his own business, a donut stand, and he'll start selling these magnificent donuts again, and maybe, just maybe, people start coming back to this town and breathe a little bit of life into it. What I love about this book is that it includes recipes in the back. Any book that includes food in it is one of my favorites. So it includes recipes for cookies and donuts, and also includes a business startup guide in the back. So if you are an industrious kid who likes the thought of earning your own money and working hard for that, there's a great little business guide in the back of this book as well. And like I said, it is the first in a series. So if you love Tristan and his donut stand, you'll definitely want to check out the other ones as well. The Doughnut Fix by Jessie Janowitz. And my last book for today is called Dear Sweet Pea. This one is by Julie Murphy. Again, it's published by Balzar Bray. It's an imprint of HarperCollins. This is brand new as well. This is a 2019 story as well. It's written by the same author of the YA book Dumplin', and you may be familiar with it, maybe not from the book, but it was also turned into a Netflix movie. So if you haven't checked out that, it was really, really great. You can definitely do that. In this story, Sweet Pea's parents got divorced and were convinced that the best thing that they could do was that they could live on the same street in basically identical houses, separated by just one house. So her mom lives in one house, they have a neighbor, and then her father lives in the house, 2 doors down. The house that separates them is lived in and owned by Miss Flora May. She is the local newspaper advice columnist. And Sweet Pea doesn't know too much about her, but she'll kind of wave to her as she walks in between her mom and dad's houses. But when Miss Flora May goes on a trip, she asks Sweet Pea to send her the mail because she gets these letters from people who are asking for her opinion on things and her advice. And so she wants her mail forwarded. So she wants Sweet Pea to gather the mail and forward it to her while she's away. But one day when Sweet Pea is going through the mail, she recognizes the handwriting on one of the letters asking for the advice, and she decides that maybe she could answer it herself. So she starts her own little business of answering these questions for advice and putting it in the newspaper. And what could possibly go wrong with a 12-year-old putting advice in the newspaper column without anyone knowing about it, right? But it's a great story about friendship, about finding yourself in the midst of a little bit of family chaos. Excuse me. And it's about dealing with friends and school and everything like that. So if you want a story about finding yourself, this is definitely one to check out. Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. And like I said, she has some YA novels out there as well. All right. As I mentioned, that's all I've got for today. It was just the 5 books. Take a look at some of our other book talks. We have them on our YouTube channel. And if you need access to that, please shoot us a message on Facebook or through email. And you can get access to all of the videos that we've been doing while we're under quarantine. Sign up for our summer reading program by going to www.umtlreads.org. As far as virtual programming goes, we're going to take a short break for virtual programming for the next 2 weeks, so we won't be doing storytime or book talks next week or the following week. Like I said, we're slowly looking at reopening, and so we're really going to try and focus on that for the next couple weeks in the hopes that we can get at least some curbside pickup being offered soon. We don't have any dates yet, but keep an eye out on our social media and we'll get that information to you as it comes available. Like I said, there will be no programming for the next 2 weeks, but once summer reading hits, we are creating a lot of digital programming and virtual programming for you to do that is on demand when you have time, but also some programming where kids can meet up for some book discussions and some other events. So definitely keep an eye out for our social media as we learn more about what's going on. We're just getting our event calendar up and running for the summertime. We're just pinpointing a couple more dates for some activities, but that'll be up, hopefully by next week, and you can take a look at all the great stuff we're going to be offering this summer. We'll have story times for the young kids. We have elementary and middle school programming. We have a whole bunch of stuff going on, so please take a look at our event calendar and our website and social media for more information. We hope you have a great weekend, and we hope to see you real soon. Bye, everyone.